The due diligence fee in North Carolina has got to be one of the most uncomfortable conversations I have to have with buyers. So if you don't already follow me on TikTok, please do. I have talked about the due diligence fee plenty of times, obviously under 30 seconds, but here we're going to get into it a little deeper. North Carolina is unique in several ways with the home buying process, but the due diligence fee and our due diligence period definitely takes the cake. Like all states, we do have earnest money deposit. It gets deposited with the closing attorney, held in escrow, and if a buyer decides to back out due to inspections, appraisal, they just don't feel like buying the house one day, they can get that money back. But we have this thing called the due diligence fee, which is on top of the earnest money. Now, of course, this is all negotiable. You don't even have to offer a due diligence fee. I mean, good luck with getting an offer accepted without it, but I do need to tell you that it is negotiable and not required. This fee is written directly to the seller. The check is written directly to the seller. In essence, it says, "Thank you, Mrs. Seller, for taking your home off the market while we do our due diligence." Our due diligence period is everything lumped into one. I know some states have financing contingencies that are a couple days long, inspection contingencies, right? Ours is all lumped up into one. How long is that period? Something else that's entirely negotiable. However, if I were to put an average on it, when we're in a stabilized market, we're looking at least a 21-day due diligence period, which means a buyer can back out, get their earnest money back after the seller has been under contract for 21 days. But Kim, we had an inspection done and the house is falling apart and the seller does not agree to address any of it. We get our due diligence fee back then, right? No, you don't. There are only two possible ways you are getting this due diligence fee back as a buyer. One, when you close on the home, it gets credited back to you from the seller. Two, if seller is in breach. So it is a very necessary yet uncomfortable conversation to have with all of my buyers when we are talking about the home buying process. Now, when this fee started in North Carolina, it was 2011. We were talking a couple $100 here. Basically, sellers were getting mad that, for any reason whatsoever, a seller or a buyer can back out and get their deposit back, and a seller was left with, crap. So yeah, at first it was a couple $100. Wasn't till 2019, 2020, and then obviously beyond that, where we saw these non-refundable due diligence fees just skyrocket. Buyers out there weren't even putting money into earnest money. They were putting it all in due diligence, basically telling the seller, we're pretty much buying this house because we put our life savings into a non-refundable deposit. So it is now February 2023 when I'm making this video. Thankfully, I have seen these fees come back down. I think sellers are still expecting a whole lot more because, that's what they heard, but these due diligence fees pretty much go with the market, right? Crazy market, crazy due diligence fees, stabilized market, we're seeing it level off a little bit. So to recap, in the state of North Carolina, we've got due diligence fee, we've got earnest money, and we have a due diligence period. That due diligence fee is non-refundable unless you close on the home or the seller is in breach. Earnest money deposit, you are entitled to that back should you decide to back out during the due diligence period. Hope that clears up some of the questions I get and look forward to talking to you all soon.